for 3 years now. I joined in 2018 and I've been here 3 years. I generally teach data science and artificial intelligence, some bits and pieces of machine learning at the first year level. So it's just a very basic introduction. I work in cybersecurity and blockchain areas. So if you have technical questions about that, maybe it's not the right forum, but feel free to ask me if you have any. All right. Okay. Along with me, we have 4 students from SCSE. Maybe I ask them to introduce themselves. That's easiest. Chien, do you want to start?
Yeah. So hi, I'm Jiai. I'm from computer science. Right now, I'm in my 4th year. So I specialize in data analytics and machine learning. So yeah, that's about it.
Great. So computer science, if you're interested in the core computer science program of the school, I think Jayan is the person to go to. The other side of it would be computer engineering. I think Howie.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Howie. I'm currently year 3 Sem 2, taking computer engineering, but specializing in the software aspect, which is data science and artificial intelligence.
Lovely. Okay, so we can talk more about the differences between the two later on as we go along. I'll give a brief overview of the courses anyway that we offer, and then you can decide on putting your questions to the respective students. We also have somebody from our data science and AI program, which is kind of new, not that old. Bhargav, do you want to introduce?
Hi, so I'm Bhargav. I'm from Data Science and Artificial Intelligence year 2 currently. And yeah, that's it.
Great. All right. And how about Jessica? Jessica is from our double degree program.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I take a double degree in computer science and economics. Yeah. And I'm
Great.
currently year 2.
Lovely. Okay. So year 2, year 3, this generally means which year you are in, as in the chronological order. But at SCSE, it also means how many academic units or courses you have covered. So their standings might be different from the chronological year they are in. All right. And that's common for all our courses. All right. I forgot to ask you guys, Jayan, Howie, which JCs are you from? Jayan, which JC are you from?
I was from Jurong, but it already merged with Pioneer. So like, bye bye.
I see.
Um,
Howie?
Same for mine. Mine's from SR. I'm from SR, but it's currently called SIAJ or AJSRJC, something like that.
Anderson Serangoon?
Anderson, yeah.
Yeah, is JC, I think. Anderson Serangoon JC. All right, Bhargav?
I'm from Temasek.
Temasek. Okay, cool. Jessica?
I'm from RJC.
RJC. Great, great. All right. So I believe in the room that I see about 63 right now, should be more than that. But you are probably from different other JCs also, right? So all the JCs together in Singapore. Feel free to ask your questions. You know your seniors if you're from their JC. All right, let me quickly give you a glimpse of at NTU, how do we look at things? So this is our, well, belief of an engineer, all right? You get the point. But not so cheesy, actually. It's more like this. So what we really want you to do is think of your career in a very diverse way as much as possible. Try to get a core engineering background, which covers a lot of things, not just computer science or programming, but also aspects of engineering, aspects of computer engineering, then aspects of other engineering disciplines, right? Data science AI, well, has become one of the biggest currencies in this domain. So if you're interested in data science and AI, I think Jiayin, Howe, they both are really interested in that from CS and CE. Bhargav is already in DS AI. And then the other perspective would be more towards an econ perspective from Jessica. So you can start talking to them about it. Quick glimpse of all the single degree programs offered by College of Engineering. So College of Engineering is our big umbrella, all right, at NTU. And under that, there are 6 different schools. Our school is School of Computer Science and Engineering. And there are several single degree programs offered by all the schools. We offer these 4 that you see in the slide right now. Computer engineering, that used to be our core program because the school started off as a school of computer engineering way back in 1990s. Then computer science evolved after that. Well, quite frankly, right now, I believe more students join computer science than computer engineering. If you want to know the difference, we'll talk about it. Data science and AI is very new. So Bhargav is a second batch of DSAI. They have one more batch, which is in their 4th year standing right now, 3rd and 4th year standing. So we haven't graduated any batch. If you want to know about stats of employment and stuff, sorry, we don't really have that as of now. We know the demand, but we don't know the stats. So DSAI is a flagship program. It's a very, very focused program on just data science and AI. So is mathematical and computer sciences. Both of these programs are jointly with the School of Physical and Mathematical Sciences. So you have a lot of math component to both of them. Math computer science is also very new. If you want to join that, I'll talk about it soon enough. All right. Apart from your major, whatever you're doing your major in, you can always take minors. Standard question, do you have to apply for minors when you apply for the program? No, you don't. You can take minors as you go along. Minors generally refer to a bunch of credit points that you can gather from a specific school. So if you got like 15 AU, which means about 5 courses from a specific school, you can apply for that minor. We have students here in the panel who have minors and some who didn't choose minors. So you'll get both the perspectives. Second major is a slightly different thing. This one you apply when you're applying for the program. So if you're applying for a computer science or computer engineering with a business second major, then you apply at the time of application, which you probably have done, your JC3 in most of the cases. We don't have anybody here with a second major, but I guess we can talk about it in general if you want to know. More interesting than a second major, also more challenging, I guess, so slightly more work, would be a double major. A double major would be mathematical and computer sciences. That's our program. If you apply to that, then that gives you a double major, again, jointly with the School of Physical and Mathematical Sciences. So it's also, of course, a math heavy program. If you're more interested, not just a double major, but you want to really get 2 degree scrolls from 2 different schools, you know our programs. There's engineering and econ. Jessica is from computer science and econ. You can ask questions about that. And the other one is computer science or engineering and business. The core difference between these two is the econ double degrees go with a 5-year time limit, whereas the computer science and business or engineering and business double degree goes with a 4-year duration. So duration is different. The load, of course, is slightly different, and the overlap between the 2 disciplines is also slightly different. We'll talk more about it. Cool. So that's about it. There's a School of Computer Science and Engineering. We talked about the programs. And if you look at all the rankings and all the numbers that you see in terms of the school, it generally tells you where we stand in terms of our reputation in all academic institutes across the globe. So it gives you kind of a mileage. It also gives you kind of a ticket to get into one of the best programs in the world after this, or maybe get into a good company in the world after this. So that's where the numbers come in, okay? Cool. So maybe we start with a few questions that I got earlier. If you have any other question for our students, the panel, please do start asking the questions. I'll stop the share and then let's ask a few questions to our panel to start with. So quick checks. Jayan and Howie, you are from computer science and engineering respectively.
Yep.
How is your life about these two? So what is computer science like, Jayan?
There's a lot of modules like how do I say? So there are a lot more modules in terms of software, I guess, and we learn a lot of things that's just not related. I would say not related, but that's not programming, but it's still within the technology domain. So I would really say it's just more software based.
Understood. So is it a lot of programming? Coming from a JC, was programming a really hard challenge or was it fine?
The start was really difficult, but once you get used to it, it was much easier and better to go around it. So I came from a background that I have never touched programming. I had never did any programming related before I came into computer science. So I learned through it and I kind of like it, and I plan to go in that direction after I graduate. So it's actually very possible and doable.
Lovely. Thanks a lot. So I think that's probably a consolation for people who are already afraid that what am I getting myself into? How about computer engineering? How is it different from computer science? Or how is the life different?
I think the main difference between computer science and engineering from my perspective is that at least for the first 2 to 3 first 2.5 years, I would say, like computer engineering will be more focused on more physical hardware, like as opposed to software engineering. So we have more lab sessions where we actually figure with things like the FPGA, and then we do like very assembly level code such as Verilog, etc. So it's more like primitive way of coding, but it's not necessarily hard. And of course, it's slightly more technical, as in like more math heavy, where like JC math will really come in handy when you have like things like your complex numbers, your how to say complex number mainly, then as well as further things that you'll learn, such as like your Fourier series that would be relevant in the industry in the future. But at the end of the day, I don't really see much difference between a computer engineering and computer science degree, in the sense that at the end of the day, we can both still specialize in the same field. So like, take me as an example. I actually wanted to take computer engineering because I wanted to have the hardware skill set, but I decided to focus myself into the field of DSAI, so that I get the software aspect, so I get the best of both worlds at the end of the day.
Great, great. All right. So Jane, you were taking computer science, but you said even if software development is very interesting, you were still interested in data science and AI.
Yeah, I'm interested in both. So it's like for specialization, we can learn both, like what how I say it. So we are able to explore what we like to do and try around.
Understood. Great. So how many programming languages are there roughly that you have to go through?
Uh, about 4 to 5. But the main issue is actually the initial part. The languages are quite similar. Once you understand how the thinking, how the logic works, it's very easy to pick the rest out.
True, true. I completely agree. So personally, I come from a triple E background. All right. My undergraduate was none of yours. So I wasn't from computer science or engineering. Come from triple E, but then I moved into math and then computer science. So you can actually move across if you're really interested. Jessica, you took with econ. Why going with a double degree in econ?
Honestly, because before entering university, I wasn't very sure about entering computer science because I had no coding background, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna enjoy like learning about coding. And I knew from like my JC experiences that I actually was interested and I enjoyed learning about economics. Yeah, so I decided to take the double degree. Yeah, I was like so like it was kind of like computer science was more for me to secure a job, and economics was more for me to like satisfy learning about things that I'm interested in, because I couldn't really fulfill that desire back in JC or secondary school. Yeah.
Understood. So do you still think that's true? Computer science will secure you a job?
Mm, yes, I hope so. And I guess ideally I would like to combine the two disciplines. Yeah, but I I do think there's quite like it's quite a narrow overlap between computer science and economics. Yeah, mostly like research based. Like research on economics, we can use computer science tools like data science and artificial intelligence. Yeah, more and stuff
Understood.
like that. Yeah, that's what I'm looking into now.
Understood. Understood. Good. So if you were not really sure of that, then you sort of picked something which is an optimal for you, right? You choose your interest, the econ, and then also kind of an employability guarantee with the CS. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
How about Bhargav? You were super confident with DS and AI only. What happened?
Yeah, so since JC, I mean, I have a coding background, so I knew I wanted to do something in computer science, and I'm pretty interested in mathematics as well. So luckily for me, when I was in NS, SCSE came out with this course. So I was initially in computer science at first, and I wanted to specialize in DS and AI, but I saw that they have the specialized course, so like might as well go with it because you will have that strong foundation in math as well, right? Which I think might not be there for like if you go from computer science into DS and AI specializations. So yeah, I guess that's how it worked for me.
Sure, great. So, how did you think of your employability when you went into DSAI? You don't have any stats of any previous batches. Was it a risk?
Well, I mean, you can kind of judge it based off the computer science graduates. Like those people with like DS and AI specializations are still like getting jobs. DSAI is kind of like the new growing market, right? And you need these people with these kind of like relevant skills. So I was like, even though there's no stats, but it's a very promising degree. If you have that solid background, it's kind of like an edge over um, DS and AI specialized people. Yeah.
Right. Makes sense. Makes sense. So John asked, speaking of job, how do the career prospects look like? I think the senior ones. Who wants to answer? Jen? Hongwei? Anyone?
I
Hongwei?
would
Anyone?
say I would say that like from what I have seen from my seniors' point of view, I don't really see much difference. But I could probably just elaborate on the fact that like I have two of my seniors who actually specialize in computer engineering. One of them actually specialized in networking, another specialized in DSAI. So for one of my senior who is a computer engineer, like when he specialized in networking, he actually managed to work like secure a job at AWS as a data like a data center manager. So that's because he's intending to like focus more on the hardware aspect as well as the networking aspect. Then on the other hand, I have another senior who is also a computer engineer, but he's actually specializing in DSAI. And then he became a data analytics and a software engineer of one of the MNCs. So I think in terms of hireability wise, I don't really see much difference, but it's more of like how you actually specialize and how you build out your portfolio throughout university that really makes the difference between your hireability as well as salary. Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So the stats of hireability and the job prospects that you see on the website is kind of like a summary statistics, right? So it says what's the median, what's the mean, but there are always outliers. Unfortunately, on both ends, we would like only on the higher end. Cannot happen, right? So there are all the prospects. So you have to find out what you want to do, mostly after you join. So GIN, you have gone through that phase, right? You kind of switched your interests. How does it
Yeah.
look like for you?
Uh, how does it like? I mean, for me, I came to uni without really knowing anything. I just like go through the process, and that's when I just find out something that I like. So in terms of switching, it's quite easy, quite convenient, I would say. It's really just up to you as a person and what you want to do. It's really very flexible over here.
Right. So may I ask this, maybe GIN, to
Yeah.
start with, that you thought, suppose in CS you would become maybe a software developer or take up a proper development job somewhere, right? And
Yeah.
then you now say you are more interested in DS or AI kind of things.
Yeah.
So what made you change your mind? Why did you go for that?
So what made me change my mind? It was actually my electives in school. So when I took it, I started learning about it and I tried it out. And I was just like, hey, I think I like this and I'd like to try it out and explore more about it. So it wasn't exactly fixed. So yeah, it really expanded.
Great. Understood. So you can, right? So it's 4 years, you start taking courses, you do your internships, you do other things, slowly modulate your expectations.
Yeah.
Jessica, do you think you are keeping your options open with econ? Like you can go to finance in a very econ way, or do you have to be in a computing kind of a role after this? What's your interest?
I think generally I'm still on the computer science side as I entered university because I had this fear that like, oh, what if since I had no coding background, I was like, oh, I took econ out of the fear that, oh, what if I join university and I actually hate coding. Yeah, but actually thankfully I actually like coding, so right now I'm like taking my time in exploring all the different specializations and like what kind of modules I'm interested in. Yeah. And like kind of figuring out my direction to go from here. So I'm like in an ideal situation, I will be able to combine like economics and computer science in my future career prospect. But I wouldn't mind just going for a fully computer science job in the future either. Yeah. So right now I'm just taking my time to explore the different options I have.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So I mean, you were in my lab for the first year programming mod, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you did pretty well. So you already were very accustomed with programming by the end of that. So it brings me to the question that Tianchi asked right now. Do you have to prepare a lot? So Bhargav, I think DSAI, your field, what prerequisite knowledge do you need or how do you prepare in the gap year?
So for me, I already had quite a bit of a coding background, so I didn't really need too much of that. But if you're a complete novice to coding, I think it will help to, at least get yourself acquainted with, some of the basics of programming. Um, not so much, I'd say, computational thinking, just like, how coding works, simple programs that you can make. Uh, Other than that, maybe math, you can, keep your JC math like fresh in your mind. Other than that, I think it should be pretty fine.
Is it harder for the NS men, Bhargav? You came back from
Yes.
NS and joined. How did
So
you track? Yeah.
so for me, because I have that 33-month gap from when I graduate from JC to when I start. So especially in terms of math, it does take a bit of a strain initially for you to be able to keep up with the content, especially since my batch was the last batch for my A-level math syllabus, and then so the girls in my cohort kind of knew more of the content that they were teaching, so it's an easier bridge for them to cross as compared for the guys. But it's still pretty manageable. I think if you take your time to sit there and study and learn, you should be all right. So there's another question about DSA math. Will it focus more on statistics instead of algebra? So I think there's a fair balance, right? You do a lot of calculus. So you take two calculus core modules. You also take one linear algebra, right? And then towards more year 2 and year 3, you'll be doing a bit more on statistics. So there's kind of a balance, and you'll be using a lot of your algebra that you learn in your calculus in your statistics as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a solid assessment because if you are doing say linear algebra and you don't see the connection with stat, then you cannot really come back and use both of them in machine learning algorithms. In machine learning algorithms, you'll use both. So you'll also use another thing which we don't really cover as a really big course, but it comes with machine learning, which is numerical methods. So approximation algorithms and convergence of algorithms and stuff like that. So all these three will come in very, very handy. We'll see as you go along. So I think there was another question, which is probably a question on a lot of people's mind. Maybe we just ask Jain and how way to start with. How competitive is the environment?
Right? But I would say it will always be competitive as if newer batch the points just keep increasing, and it really depends on if you want to score well, like you either want a good score, you just want to enjoy your uni life. But yeah.
Really, you enjoy your uni life more or think about your scores more?
I would say I enjoy my uni life more. Like I don't really want to study that hard in uni anymore, so I just chill and enjoy myself.
All right. How different is your JC life to your uni life?
JC life to uni life wise, I would say in university there's definitely more flexibility too. In the sense that um okay, uh, like okay, let's put it that way. Most of the lectures are recorded as of now, so like I can actually regulate and then schedule how I want or when I want to actually study. So it's actually more productive that way. At least that's what I feel. So basically, normally I would like plan a certain time in the day where I will study. So then the rest of the day I'll have more social life. So that's how I learn to balance out. In terms of competitive wise, I would say that if you put in your fair share of due diligence and then you're consistent with your work, I don't really find it very, very competitive. Like I mean, there's certainly a level of competition, but I'm sure you'll do well so long you're consistent with your work. So you just have to do in your due diligence and then revise as you go along, and then yeah, you also can get your fair share of social life. Yeah.
True. Yeah. So just a quick disclaimer. All views are of the participants individual, not from the school. So Bunking lectures, not very good, but yes, all the lectures are recorded. So kind of, I mean, with the COVID situation, we have put all the lectures online and most of them are recorded. So yes, it's being a common trend now that people would allot their time to the courses whenever they want. And that's fine. That's absolutely all right if you can go along with it. All right. So competitiveness, I think a double degree beats almost everything. Jessica, how hard is a double degree?
In terms of the load, I think mine is a little bit better than business maybe because it's spread out over 5 degrees. Actually, wait, no, it's the same because then you take more AUs. Yeah, so basically for double degree generally, I think load wise, if you manage your time well, it should be fine. Actually, everyone thinks that the double degree is like very very hard, but actually, if you manage your time well, it is generally still okay. I think you have time to participate in other extracurricular stuff. Like I'm also an inter-varsity player for the school's judo team. Yeah. So I still get to go to training twice a week. Yeah. I'm also participative in PHP, which is the peer helpers program in school. Yeah. And then I still have free time for myself as well. Yeah. So as long as you manage your time well and you follow like the syllabus week to week, it shouldn't be too much of like stress and struggle. Yeah.
Cool, good, makes sense. So I guess nerdy and entrepreneur. Okay, all right. Let's see. So which one should we start with? More nerdy as perceived from outside, roughly. I think DACI seems to be more nerdy now. I have no idea. Bhargav, more nerdy, more entrepreneur. What is it? How is DACI batch like?
I mean, I guess everyone's all right. Our batch size right now is pretty small, so there's not that many like reference points for me to say. But I think everyone's just like studying as of now. Yeah, and everyone's pretty friendly to one another so far. So
What's the batch more or less aiming at? Does most of your batch want to go and do a job at an MNC? Do you think of entrepreneurs more coming out of your batch? What's the culture like?
um, well, I haven't really like asked around, but I think just from like taking a look at my friends, I think most of them initially want to get on a job first, and then they will want to like see and explore their options afterwards, whether they want to go like for graduate studies. So for me personally, I'd want to move, maybe try and get a job first, then do graduate studies, and then probably start something of my own. Yeah.
Understood. Anyone in the panel who wants to start something right away or more inclined to entrepreneurship?
I would say that whether or not like SCSE is deemed as a nerdy or like entrepreneurship, like it's more defined by us ourselves. Like each batch have their own perspective of like what they want to do. So like I can't speak for like the incoming batch, but definitely I could get some sensing of like how my batch is, or like from my circle of friends. So at least from my circle of friends that I knew, like yeah, we tend to be geeky at times, but ultimately we have an outlook of like what we want to achieve by the time we graduate. So like most of us are, I wouldn't say like we are entrepreneurship like, but more of like hustlers. We really hustle for what we want to achieve. So I have friends that really want to go into MNC, so they really like hustle their butts off, yeah, like really just to really join competitions as well as expose to themselves to internship. So one of them actually just recently secured a summer intern at Bank of America. Yeah, and that is like his third intern as a third year student. So
Wow.
yeah, it's a great hustle. Then there's also people who are just in there to actually just build connections. So they are just in to enjoy university, and then um they are more sociable and definitely don't look nerdy at all for sure. And then there's also like more entrepreneurship like people um who okay, just like for me, I feel that I'm more inclined to the entrepreneurship route. So for me, I intend to while studying in uni, I actually try to do some side hustles where I actually like help my dad with his business expansion here and there. At the same time, like I also um venture into stuff like investments here and there, yeah, to actually build up a portfolio when the time comes. Then yeah, I don't really see it as a deterministic thing, but rather it's really dependent on what you want to achieve by the end of the university. Yeah.
Understood. Yeah, makes sense. I think you can always take, you're also taking minors, right, Away?
Yeah,
In
I'm taking
entrepreneurship?
minors. Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm actually taking business as well as entrepreneurship. So because I intend to actually work for a few years before actually I will proceed to actually do a startup. So I want to gain some experience on the field before I venture into something that is quite unknown and uncertain. Yeah, in the near future.
Right, right. Makes sense. So right now, I guess a lot of these JC3 students who we have in the room would have a natural question. NUS versus NTU, or maybe SMU or SCTD or something like that. What was your decision choice based on? So Jessica, Bhargav, Away, Chen.
Oh, I can start.
Sure.
So basically, for between NUS and NTU, I kind of looked through like the structure of their courses, of the computer science courses. So I preferred NTU because basically like we have more core modules, and like jumping into computer science, I didn't really have a understanding of like coding or programming. So I wanted to have like more foundational understanding from the ground up. Yeah, so for NTU, there's more core modules that are a bit not so related to coding or programming. So you learn more about like the foundations of what your programs and codes are based upon. Yeah. So I wanted to understand, like have a wider understanding because like because it I was kind of new to this field. Yeah. So that's why I chose NTU generally. And also because it had this structured double degree program between econs and computer science. And also because I wanted to experience the hall culture in NTU. Yeah. And NUS, the halls are more expensive. Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Bhargav, you went for NS and then you saw this new program, you came in here. NUS also had another one, right? Similar to this?
Data science and analytics.
Yeah.
But theirs was offered by the mathematical school, if I'm not wrong. So it's more focused on the statistical side of things as compared to artificial intelligence, which is something I was more interested in. Um, so like I said, initially I was in NTU computer science. Purely because of my grades, I couldn't make the cut for NUS. But then, it's kind of a good thing that I could just switch over within the school itself. Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Chain, Huawei, similar confusion?
Yeah, I just kind of like wing it.
Mine was a little bit more practical in the sense that I knew from the start. Before NS, I actually wanted to go business, but during NS, I think that's the point where I have a turning point where I wanted to have something that's more technical because I felt that um, business skill can be learned online since it's so like everything is so readily available online, and the main difference between like what I feel for business degree and business knowledge is more of like experience and connections, which takes time to build. So I decided to make a switch into the field of computing. So my initial choice for NTU was simply because for computer engineer, I knew that like I wanted to focus on hardware as well as software, and NTU actually offered both. So I can learn hardware aspect as well as specialize in terms of software by the time I graduate. So that was like the game changer for me, or the deal breaker in a sense. Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Absolutely. So, yeah, I think I'll just take the question in terms of this NUS versus NTU. There are courses and there is a sort of a culture which is different, quite different that I hear of. I haven't been to NUS, so I haven't taught there or I haven't been there so much. So I don't know of the exact culture, but in terms of the way it's delivered, School of Computing NUS is way more theoretical. It feels like more mathematical and theoretical in general, whereas NTU is by heart an engineering program. So if you're getting a Bachelor of Engineering degree for most of the topics like computer science or computer engineering, you tend to cover the breadth for what an engineer needs. So it tends to be more hands-on, more programming and stuff like that. DSAI is a different program though. DSAI is a collaboration with the math school, but still we park it or we host it from SCSE. Means we are still pushing them to learn more about AI in terms of hands-on, not just the math for business analytics, right? There's a question who asked that can you do business analytics in addition? Sure, you can do a minor, right? So you can do a minor in business, which would be easier for you to go in business analytics because it has overlap with machine learning, AI, and other data science skills. So absolutely true. All right, let's see. So what are this? So it's okay. We can take this question a little ahead of time. Somebody asked, I think Gauri, that do you need to prepare anything before joining computer science or computer engineering? JN, do you have to prepare anything before you join?
Technically, no. You can survive fine.
Okay. So you don't have to, true, because I mean we're talking about the first year compute mod. You will assume no knowledge, but as Bhargav responded that yes, so Python is a good start, right? If you really want to get your hands dirty a little ahead of time, go with Python. Same for NSMen. If you want to do something during your gap years at the end of the gap year, like those 3 months that you have, practice Python. Do brush up your JC math, right? JC math, I think everybody says that sort of JC math brush up. Good, good. So let me just quickly share a few things about the school and then we come back to the discussion again. If you have any question, feel free to keep posting, all right? So we talked about the school, the ranking and stuff like that. So what it means, as I said, is sort of your gateway or ticket to companies or other schools. All right, AI, we are all talking about DS and AI. So we are really, really good in terms of DS and AI. We have a bunch of electives offered. We have really strong faculty members in all of these areas. If you look at our faculty, you'll see a lot of them. We have 80 plus faculty members right now. And a majority, not majority, but a really good number of them would work in data science or AI. So there are a bunch of faculty members, including our previous chair, Prof. Ong Yusun, and our current chair, Prof. Meo Chunyan. They are both from AI. And we have really strong faculty also in cybersecurity. So if you're interested in those areas, it's a good start. There are a bunch of other areas as well. So don't just focus on those two. If you want to do a diversified thing in other areas, these are all the areas we offer at the school. You have electives in most of them. You also have research opportunities and labs around each of them. So what do you do about the labs? We often say, look around at the school to find labs and corporate labs. It's a very good gateway to companies because the companies are on campus in a lot of cases. We have really good ties with a lot of top end companies in AI and DS, also in cybersec and IoT and things like that. Okay, so try doing that. We all talked about the curriculum. There's an engineering core, there are general education requirements. We call them unrestricted electives. There's also prescribed electives. You can take a bunch of them. Like Highway said, is doing a minor, actually two minors, entrepreneurship and business, right? For DSAI, you can do a minor, but for DSAI, you can always do a minor on top of your specialization, which is DSAI already. GIN, are you taking a minor?
No, I'm just a single degree.
So the computer science single degree, right?
Yeah.
So how do you spend your UEs? What do you do with your unrestricted electives?
I took a lot of art modules from the NIE, such as like drawing, painting. I took a language course also. I took that mainly to like explore around, play around, because I actually like arts. Yeah.
Very nice. That's pretty cool. How about a double degree, Jessica? Can you take minors still or not so much?
No, generally, like most of your credits will be used for your degrees. Yeah, either your business or your econs and your com science or com eng degrees. Yeah, so you'll be left with not a lot of credits to spend on a minor. So you can't take a minor if you're taking a double degree. Yeah. So and in general, like UEs, like unrestricted electives where you can go take out of curriculum stuff are also limited. I think for the 4-year business program, I think you have like 6 AUs, so about maybe like two UEs around there, and mine's around the same as well. Yeah, so basically a minor is out the question.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But yeah, I mean, that's a flexibility, right? So you can be like how we're taking focus minors, GIN, taking minors according to your interest, more, not really, not minors, but taking courses at UEs. Jessica has said double degree already restricts you to a bunch of cores, very hard. Bhargav, are you doing a minor with DSM?
No, I'm not doing a minor, but I'm doing a work study program, which
What is the work study degree program?
so the work study degree program is this program where your final year project, your internship, as well as your 2 summers are done at a company of your choice, I guess. Um, so it's basically like an 80-week internship sort of thing. And it replaces a lot of the unrestricted electives which are required for you to take a minor. So yeah.
Understood. How do you source it? How do you get it?
So you just have to apply. You have to send in your resume, and if your grades are high enough and they see that you're a potential candidate, they will, offer you like at least acceptance into the program. And then after that, you have to either self-source your own internships, or there's a platform, your internships placement platform that provided by NTU, where you can find your companies.
Understood. So we often say that there is, I mean, a very broad-based education. We offer industry-relevant curriculum. All our students get a very good job soon enough. And we say that because we do offer a lot of platforms for you to check out internships. We also offer hands-on. So there's this final year project that you can do. There's also multidisciplinary project at SCSE that you can do. So this give you more opportunities. We also have professional internships and attachments. So I understand that's a mandate, right? Professional internship. How we have to do that? Computer engineering. Did you do it already?
Professional internship? No,
Yep.
I'm leaving it for my last semester.
Why last
No.
semester?
I wanted to spend more time building up my portfolio before I actually enter the workforce. And I think doing it at the last semester would actually allow me to better transit into the workforce as compared to like in year 3. So I actually made the switch between my internship from year 3 to year 4. Yeah.
I see. So you have to do a final year project also, right?
Yep. I'm
How
currently
do you plan that? When is it?
I planned my final year project on my year 3 sem 1. So my final year project will actually stretch from year 3 sem 1 to actually year 3 and year 4 sem 1. Yeah, correct. It's a 1 year stretch. So basically what I would be doing is no, sorry, my bad. I started my FYP in year 3 sem 2 and it will stretch to year 4 sem the end of year 4 sem 1. Yeah, it's a 1 year stretch. Oh my god. Okay, so basically my FYP it's more on the field of autonomous driving side. So it's like the height where you got all the self-driving cars and stuff. So basically it's more on the field of autonomous driving where I have to come up with new insights and features for like the future of self-driving cars, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Pretty cool. Lovely. So this is one plan, by the way, guys, those who are in the room right now, that you can do your internship, the professional internship, which is through the school in general, at the end. So 4.2 kind of a setting. And then 3.2 and 4.1 will go as what Huawei is doing in FIP. GIN, you are in already 4.2, right? Last semester.
Yeah, this is my last step.
When did you do those two, the FIP and PI?
So I did my internship in 3.2 and my FYP I started in my year 4. So I right now on my second semester of my FYP.
Lovely. So why the other way around? Why did you do PI first and then came back to school again?
So actually doing PI first was part of the syllabus structure, but a lot of people don't follow it and it's okay. So for me, I just followed the structure and just go about it.
Understood. Understood. How about PI or this kind of FIP for you, Jessica, in a double degree?
Oh, in my double degree, I have a choice between PI and PA also. So basically, PI would be a 6-month internship. PA is a 3-month attachment. So for PA, you'll take it during the summer. Yeah. So if you want to spend more credits on classes, you'll take the PA. Yeah. And for my FYP, I'm only allowed to take one FYP, and that will be from SCSE.
Understood. Understood. So these PIs are self-sourced, or do you get a portal of SCSE where you go from? How did you do it, Jian? Was it self-sourced?
So mine was self-sourced, but the school actually provides a platform. So like all the students, one of them asked in the chat like, is it sponsored by the school? No, it's not sponsored, but the school will provide a list that we can choose from. But if they don't interest you, you can always like go outside, find one, just send them your resume directly, call them, and once they accept it, you have to give them this form that the school provided, and they will do get through all the admin and everything settled. So for me, yeah, that's what I did.
Understood. So from my perspective, when I look at PI, I understand that the students who go to PI, they have a supervisor in the school. So I tend to be a supervisor for a lot of students over the years. And they also have a supervisor or advisor at the firm, at the company where you are working. So we generally talk to each other sometimes about how the work is going. We have to evaluate how your work is going. So that goes back as your aim or credit points. Okay, so that's a great point that you get. Great. Okay, so quick check about the professional internships and attachment. That's one. And the very controversial term right now, unfortunately, the global immersion program, when we get to travel again. So for you guys, I think Chiayin is the most fortunate of the lot. Chiayin, you have been to exchange, right?
Yeah, I went to Sweden for my summer exchange, so it was 2 years ago. Yeah, so just before everything, I was very lucky. So I took one elective over there, and I enjoyed myself. I play a lot. Yeah.
Lovely. Good. So you took an elective. You can take courses during your exchange and carry the credit back, right?
Yeah, we can take courses. So it really depends on the school and the country you're going. Some of them actually offers you quite a lot of core modules. So for the one I went, there was only electives that I can take. But I know friends that went like the semester exchange, which is 6 months, 6 to 5 months, and they cleared a lot of the core modules.
Understood. Great. That's good to know. How you said entrepreneurship was your priority, or you kind of thinking of it? I see an overseas entrepreneurship program. Did you ever think of that? What is it?
Yes, I'm currently thinking of doing a overseas internship program like on my final year. So I'm intending to outsource source my own internship from an overseas company, so long if COVID actually subsides. So hopefully that works out because I was a little bit salty that I didn't get to get my exchange. Yeah, like I'm not sure if any of you actually follow like a YouTuber called Daniel Tomago. Like when I watch his YouTube videos, I kind of just like at Sweden, it kind of makes me want to go exchange so badly. So I actually wanted, yeah, that was like my main motivation for me to actually source my own company overseas. Hopefully, if COVID works out.
True. Makes sense. Makes sense. Anyone else has a plan? Bhargav, Jessica?
For exchange, I've applied, but let's see if I get through.
Jessica, any time for
Yeah.
exchange?
Yeah, actually, same. I've applied for next semester also, so I don't know about I'm not so sure if it'll go through. But
Fingers crossed.
the good thing about a 5-year degree is that you have 4 years to no wait, 3 years to apply for exchange. So I still have one more year if this falls through.
It's cool. That's right. 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 Makes sense. All right. Final one that we said very exciting student life on campus. Jessica mentioned you want to stay on campus and all those things. So quick check with you guys. I'm stopping the share. So how do you find your time on campus? Is it enjoyable? What do you do? Anyone?
Okay, I think I'll go. So I stay in hall. If I turn on my virtual background, you'll see my hall room. So you do get quite a lot of extra time as compared to, like, let's say if you're like traveling back and forth, especially for me since I live in the east, so it like doesn't make sense for me to like travel 2 hours back and forth, right? So I'd say hall life is pretty fun if you really do take the time to join hall CCAs and other activities on campus. I think it's good to make a full use of your time here. You
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Sorry, Siri is getting activated. Technology. So yeah, what else?
What is your favorite hall? Somebody asked. Tianchi.
Well, my favorite hall is obviously my own hall, Hall 5. But yeah, so for me, I was part of the hall council as well. So you really do get to interact with all your other hall residents. You also have inter-hall games where you get to play with residents from other halls as well. So yeah, it's pretty fun, I guess. In terms of balancing time at your CCAs versus your studies, it's really up to you. Because certain CCAs have certain positions in CCAs have different points weightage, so that you can get hall rooms the next year. So you do get 2 guaranteed years of stay, but you don't get which hall you will stay in, like the guarantee on that. So yeah, the point system really matters. So if you manage your points and well, you can have more time to study and do school like CCA stuff as well. I hope I made sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So you get 2 years of hall stay nowadays. So 2 years of hall stay, which is guaranteed, and then you can extend. But the same hall, there's no guarantee. You have to take part in the CCAs and all. But there are students who stay close to campus. They don't stay on hall. That's also true. Chain, for example, right? Chain, you're not in hall, right?
Yeah, I have never stayed in hall.
Yeah. So that's also possible. You can always stay and then travel, and that's fine. Some of our students also do like a first couple of years in the hall, and then third, fourth year when the electives kick in, you have less number of courses maybe, or do PI. You can stay and work from home, and then you can come to campus when you have labs and tutorials. So Jessica, are you active in halls or CCAs?
No, I'm a ghost in hall. I'm completely not active in hall. So actually, I like that because I like having my own private space. Yeah, so where no one knows me. Yeah, so that's actually what I like about hall is because it's relatively near to school, but I can go there and like kind of get my own alone time and like space I need to study or like rest. Mm-hmm.
Do you do anything like a CCA if you're not doing hall? Is there other option?
Yeah, if I'm active in more like school wide CCAs, like I'm active in judo. Yeah, I have a leadership position there. Yeah, so basically if I do participate in activities that are outside of hall, yeah.
Nice. How about you?
Um, I don't really participate much in hall activities, but I do enjoy my hall life because for me, I actually choose to actually stay in the hall with my friends. So like from time to time, or like almost every day, or we'll just hang out for dinner. Like you have like dinner buddies, supper buddies, and stuff. So it's more fun. I find it just like what Jessica has said. The hall is like my little space for me to be my own world after a long day. So like I'm actively involved in school activities though. I was part of the school club a year ago. Yeah, so like for 2 years, I was part of the school club as an events manager where I host like school events such as dinner and dance as well as tech fest. Yeah, then the hall is just a solitary place for me to actually enjoy my little stay. Yeah, that's all.
Good. So makes sense. All right. Thanks a lot for everybody answering the questions. I posted for everyone very basic links for our school as well as for the curriculum of undergraduate programs. So if you are already in, if you're planning to get in, then start looking at the programs. Thank you very much for joining. We're almost out of time. Here's a QR code. If you're on a second device, just go there, and I believe it would be Layan. It's a feedback for the session, right? So if you have questions, you can reach us at our marketing channels. There are a bunch of things. You can go to our YouTube marketing channel, look at the videos that we have, or send us a query. Good. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining. I believe this will be on YouTube as well. See you. Best of luck. See you in school soon enough. Thanks a lot, everyone on the panel for joining. Thanks, Jessica, Bhargav, Howe, Chen. Thank you so much. Any other question, if you have anyone else, please do drop us an email and we can answer your question over email. Okay. There should also be open house coming up. So you have more questions, you can come to that.